Hey everybody, Dan here with Do It Then Outdoors. Bishop and I did a comparison of the Trophy Line Wingman one stick to the Eastern Wood Outdoors Ultimate one stick. We got a lot of questions on how we converted the Wingman over to a one stick since it doesn't come from Trophy Line completely set up as a one stick. So I'm gonna head down to the workshop. I'm gonna show you how I added the cam cleat, the steel cable, how I had to remove the platform to get the hole drilled for this, and hopefully answer a lot of your questions. So stay tuned. All right, so I'm down here in the basement now. Before we jump into this is gonna be a real quick video. I just wanna remind everybody, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to us. So I'm gonna go ahead and dive in here. This is what comes with the Harken cam cleat when you order it from Dano over at Eastern Wood Outdoors. You get the actual hardware, the bolts, and you know, real quick, we did try to find these at a local hardware store. We could not find them. They would have to special order them. So unless you need this Harken cam cleat like within the next day, just go over to Eastern Wood Outdoors and get the cam cleat from Dano, because you get the bolts, you get the actual cam cleat, and it comes with the drilling template. Before we dive into this, obviously this is the Trophy Line Wingman. If you're not here to see how we convert this into a one stick, then you got the wrong video. But this is not designed and sold by Trophy Line to be used as a one stick. It's used just to be the top climbing stick that you're using. So it comes with a Versa button and you know, a typical cam style strap around the tree. So the first thing that I did to take this stick and convert it into a one stick is remove the Versa button. Now, with that said, this is not designed to be used as a one stick. If you make these conversions and use it as a one stick, you're using it at your own risk. We take no liability for when you make these changes. So remove the Versa button with just an Allen wrench and you know, like a socket set. Take that off, and now you have the template in your cam cleat kit. You can decide which hole to use on your cam. So when you take the Versa button off, you have one hole through your stick. You can decide to drill your next hole below it or above it. And what that's going to do is it's going to move your cam cleat up or down on the stick. I decided to go lower so that my cam cleat is not tucked too high up underneath my platform. And my philosophy or my theory or my idea behind that is when I'm hanging above the stick, reaching down to make my move, I didn't want to have to reach underneath my platform. And that's why I put the cam cleat where it's at. And for measurements from the bottom of the platform, my first hole is at 4.5, which then when you use the template, the bottom hole is between 6, it's like 6 1/8. But just use the template. So once you decide if you're going above or below that factory hole, your next decision is going to be which way does your cam cleat face, to the right or to the left. It works either way, and that's going to be your preference on which tree or which arm you use to reach around and grab that tree rope. So once you decide which direction, use the template. So the cam cleat's not going to be here. You're going to have one hole in your stick. You line up either the top or the bottom, whichever you decide with your cam cleat. Lay that on the stick. I took a Sharpie, marked the hole, removed the cam cleat, and I used a very small pilot bit just to score the stick. Then on your template, it tells you that what drill bit you need for these bolts. So it's a 5mm or 13/64 inch drill bit. If you have a drill press, that is, you know, the appropriate tool for this to make sure you're drilling straight through. I just used my cordless drill, and I just made sure that I tried to stay as straight as possible, drilled right through, lay the cam cleat on, take your hardware apart. The washer goes on the bottom, so you just slide the bolt through the top, through your stick, washer, locking nut. It does say on here that use the drilling template, turn the screws until the cam begins to bind, meaning this doesn't spin as easy. Back off, loosen screws slightly, and then it even recommends using blue Loctite on the threads to make sure it doesn't back out. I will, one item to be cautious, you can over tighten these and crack that orange or red, I'm colorblind, so bear with me, that orange or red washer, whatever that is. You can see my colors are off. That's because when we mounted this, we actually cracked that ring. I mean, you learn from your mistakes, right? So I ran down to West Marine. Somewhere I have the kit, but you can buy just the parts to these Harken cam cleats. So the Harken cam cleat itself is like $40. You can get the innards in case you damage it, the ball bearings and everything. I think it's a rebuild kit is what it's called, for like 20 bucks. So I had to get one of those rebuild kits to replace that washer. So just keep that in mind. You can over tighten them. All right, so that covers the cam cleat. The other modification that I made is I added this steel cable. I really don't know the name, what the industry calls this. What it's designed for is when this is mounted to the tree, you're up above it, you're getting ready to reach down to make your next move. If you can grab this, that breaks the tension off of the tree rope so that you can remove it and bring it up. The Ultimate One Stick from Eastern Wood Outdoors comes with this, so you don't have to install it. But again, this stick is not designed for one sticking from Trophyline, so I had to make this modification. If you don't want to use a steel cable that slides into the stick, you could just use a Night Eyes gear tie. I see a lot of guys that are doing that. The only downside that I see to that is it's always going to be up. You can bend it out of the way, of course, but you can take it on, take it off, but you don't have that ability for it to retract down into the stick. If you want to see how we made the actual cable aider, go over to our other video where Dave and I convert our full-size XOP and his Lone Wolf into these mini sticks. And we show how we did that in that video. But it's not difficult. What you got to do though is you got to drill a hole in the top of this Wingman platform. To do that, you just remove these two bolts. One bolt is for the top standoff. The other bolt is for the actual platform. Take those screws off, set the hardware to the side. I recommend a rubber mallet, but you just got to start beating the crap out of this thing to get it to pop off the stick. Once it's off, I just laid it down. You can kind of see the mess of the metal, the aluminum that it made. I used a 5/16 drill bit to drill that hole. This steel cable is 3/32. Again, if you decide to go this route, you can customize this however you want, what size diameter. Just know that if you use a thicker cable, you're probably going to need a bigger drill bit. But yeah, I just drilled the hole through the top of the platform. I tried to sand that down as much as possible. And then the bottom of this cable is crimped, and it's catching the bolts of my Harken cam cleat inside. You can choose for it to catch the bolts up top, and you could get this sucker almost 12, 14 inches outside of the stick. Mine right now, when it's extended, is about 9¼ inches out. So that's the other modification that I made. Something that some other guys are doing is here, and I don't know if the camera's going to show it, but this part of the platform right here is a little bit thicker than the rest of it. And what you can do is you can take a Dremel tool and grind a little channel in there. And why guys are doing that is when you're making that move, so you're hanging in your saddle, you're facing the tree, You reach down, you pop your stick off, you put that stick in front of you, and now your tether is connected to the tree, and that rope is going to hold the stick against the tree so that you can be hands-free to mount your rope. I don't move that way. Instead of doing that, I come off to the side, and I'm actually able to raise my stick about 6 to 8 inches higher up the tree, and that allows me to get 20 feet with 3 moves. If I choose to do the rope mod or the rope technique, I lose those 6 to 8 inches times 3, and it actually doesn't get me to 20 feet. So I chose not to do the whole Dremel tool notch thing. Some other guys will put this against the tree and they'll use their forehead to hold it. And then another option, if you don't want to use a Dremel tool, is you see how I have mine Cobra weaved. You could just double the Cobra weave on both sides to create a little valley right there for your rope to hang down through. So pretty much the 3 major mods: cam cleat instead of the Versa button, some sort of mechanism to aid in your recovery of the stick for each move, and then if you want to Dremel or create a valley with Cobra weave if you climb where your tether comes down to hold the stick to the tree. Really the only other thing I did was I Cobra weaved it. Pretty much all the platforms, whether it's a tree stand, whether it's a saddle platform, whether it's a one stick, the metal, the aluminum, whatever they use, you get a metallic sound. If you put the Cobra weave on, it deadens that. It, you know, some guys will also say it gives them a little bit more traction with their boots when they're making some side angle shots. I've done the Cobra weave on all my platforms, whether it's my XOP lock on, my Predator platform, or this Wingman. If you've never done any Cobra weave, I learned, and I always go back to DIY Sportsman's YouTube page, Garrett. He's got a great video on how to Cobra weave platforms, tree stands, with all the support brackets that are throughout. It's not like just making a bracelet or something. So if you have any questions on the Cobra weave, just go check out DIY Sportsman's YouTube page, Garrett over there. He's got a really good how-to video for Cobra weaving. Yeah, the only other thing what I plan to do is I'm going to do stealth strips on the stick instead of the hockey tape. I got this stick late in the season last year, and I just wanted to get out in the woods and use it, so I just grabbed some hockey tape that I had here at the house and threw it on there. It just deadens the sound a little bit, and here, you know, I'm hunting in January here in Connecticut, and you know, it just makes it a little bit warmer to hold. I don't like climbing with gloves, so it's just a nice little creature comfort there. Again, stealth strips is the right way to go over hockey tape, or you could even use Tessa tape. All right, after those other mods, really the only things you got to consider are what are you going to use for a tree rope and aider. So you can't really one stick without an aider. Some guys run 2 steps, some guys run 3 steps. The way I climb, I have to have 3 steps. Well, I shouldn't say I have to, but I maximize my moves. I maximize the distance between my moves by using a 3-step aider. I know some guys, they say that after their first move, so ground, after that ground move, they don't even use their 3rd step. The way I climb, I need that 3rd step. So if you haven't seen any of our other videos, we use the Vital Ground Outdoors aider. This is his rigid step aider. I absolutely love this thing. There's other videos on our channel about this, but if you're looking for aiders for your one stick, reach out to Matt over at Vital Ground Outdoors. He can also hook you up with your Amsteel tree rope, and he has different diameters depending on what kind of rope you like to use for your tree mod or for your tree rope. So hopefully you found this video helpful. As always, like I said earlier, please hit that like and subscribe button. It means a lot to us. If you have any questions or comments, or if you need further details on this this one stick conversion, hit us up on Facebook or Instagram at Do It Then Outdoors. And as always, thanks for watching.